Vibe Studio Podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you fucking ready?
I'm so ready.
Welcome back, y'all. How y'all doing?
Ooh, welcome back. I'm so excited to see y'all again. Okay. So, how was your week?
It was good. I went to a family reunion this weekend, so that was
Okay.
really fun. How about you?
I really didn't do much this weekend. I babysat. I
Nice.
finally got our first episode uploaded. Yes.
I was out of town and she messaged me and I was like, I think I almost had a panic attack, but it was in a good manner.
Oh, yeah. I was freaking out. I'm like, you will not believe what just happened.
And I knew from the moment she FaceTimed me, I was like, it uploaded. I don't know how, because we always FaceTime, but I knew it.
Oh, yeah. I'm always just in her mind. She's always in my mind. That's just how it happens, you know?
It's kind of weird.
It's really weird. But yeah.
So our topic today is how to be a nice human. As our shirts say, be a nice human.
Yes.
So we have 3 categories that we're going to cover. Hopefully y'all like it, and stay tuned for more awesome stuff.
Yes. Our first topic is communication.
Yes. Obviously, we both know that's going to cover a lot whenever you're talking about how to be a nice human, or just anything with communication is kind of like, anything with communication is just going to be like not broad at all.
Oh, yeah. Communication is such like an incredibly like diverse thing. Like there are so many different ways that you can communicate.
Yes.
So we tried our best to narrow it down to 3. I almost said 4. I like 3 subcategories. No. So 3 subcategories that we can kind of like better explain how we are a nice human, like how we communicate being a nice human.
Right.
So
Sorry.
let's see, what were we gonna say?
There's obviously so many more ways than what we're going to, list or explain. So if you have any other ways that you might want to add, comment that or let us know so, other people can know.
Oh, yeah, definitely leave some comments in the comment section below because we will appreciate that. We want y'all's feedback. We really do. Like, we love having conversation, which is another way you can communicate,
Yeah, there you
go. Get your ideas out there. Like, I love talking to people who are, like, completely different than me, that have different ideas than me. Like, it's awesome learning from y'all. And, like, just being able to learn from y'all is so crazy. I love it.
It's awesome, yeah. So we're going to introduce this. The first subcategory in the communication category is when to and when not to say something. So I'm going to cover when to say something, and Alexa will cover the other one. So.
Oh, yeah. Definitely, because I'm very good at, like, keeping my composure and just, like, knowing when to not say something. And she always knows when to say something. She's so good at that. I am such, like, sometimes I can be a doormat, and it's not good to be a doormat.
Yeah, we cover that too, so stay tuned. But, yeah, I was going to say that. I feel like sometimes I speak my mind a little too much, but I come from a good heart. I come from a good place, so it's not like I'm just being hateful for no reason. But, okay, so when to say something. For me, personally, I feel like it is best to say something when something hurts you. Not right off the bat, though. You have to make sure that you're processing what's going on, and then you think, okay, what can I say to let them know that hurt my feelings? Or what can I say to let them know that, hey, you know what? This is probably not the best solution. Maybe, anything. Literally just anything. It's always a good thing to think, though, like to process what's going on and then speak. And I know that we're going to go over that, but whenever you are trying to talk to someone and you are trying to be nice to them, you have to think before you speak. You have to. You have to process your emotions. You have to process their emotions, right? I mean, I can't just talk to you and not completely read you and then just start talking, because if I don't read you and process what you're feeling, then I can just come off as a freaking bitch, I could just come off as rude or just hateful whenever I'm not focusing on how you're feeling, because there's always different things that you can say that's going to cover what you're trying to say, but it's also going to be nice, in a nice manner or in a respectful manner. So
yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Like, you definitely have to know, like, the specific situations on when you are going to say something versus, like, when you just shouldn't. Because there's so many situations I've been in where I just don't say anything. And, like, that's a mistake because I've had people walk all over me.
I have not walked all over her, but I was like, Alexa, why didn't you say something? So we've had our fair share of those.
Yeah.
Just about how other people have treated her in the past, honestly.
But honestly, I've learned so much from her. Just, like how to speak my mind. Because she doesn't do it in a way that's just, like, cussing somebody out, like, being rude. Like, if something, like, hurts her feelings, if she wants to get a point across, like, if we don't have, like, the same mindset on something, she'll tell me, like, how she's feeling. As opposed to just being passive-aggressive and quiet about it.
That is the most important thing, is whenever you're going to communicate something, you say, I am feeling this way, rather than, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. No, it's, I'm feeling like you're being rude to me, or I'm feeling like this could be a different way. Not, oh, this needs to be a different way. Like, that's just, like, snapping a finger at someone, you know? Like, that, I'm sorry, I forgot to say that. That's perfect, yeah.
It's okay. So, like, when would you, like, say something? Like, what are some, like, certain things that you would, like, say something about?
Like, it just depends on the situation, but say someone is trying to, let's see, I've had this happen to me before, so this girl was trying to tell me that, you know, I looked better with makeup.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, and this is, like, a moment I was like, okay, I know that she's probably not meaning to be rude, but it is obviously hurtful. I mean, come on.
Definitely.
I would much rather be in my natural state rather than putting things on my skin to, I don't know, I'm just weird like that, I guess.
That's just who you are.
Yeah, and so I felt called to be like, you know what, like, I respect your opinion, but that's when I told her, I was like, you know, I like myself, and the reason why I don't wear makeup, or I don't shave, I don't do any of that woman stuff, woman things, I guess you'd call it, because I like myself better in my most natural state.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be rude when I say this, but, like, I don't really, I don't know how to say I don't, like, I just don't, like, that kind of comment is just, like, you keep to yourself. Like, I don't care that you think that. Like, and that sounds so mean, but, like,
that's a good mindset to have, though.
You know, like, okay, like, you think that, but that's something that you would keep to yourself. So, like, that's when I was like, okay, how do I say this without, oh, I don't care what you think. No, it's, even though I don't, I can't say it like that. So I processed it, and I processed her emotions with it, and I was like, okay, I respect that opinion on me, but me personally, I don't like my makeup, and that was it. That's all I said.
Yeah.
I mean, she understood that. I mean, I didn't really have to tell her that I didn't care, but she understood that, like, I don't agree with her, I guess. Yeah. But it wasn't me putting her down with it, you know? And that's very important, too. Like, whenever you're going to say something, you got to make sure that you're not putting that person down, you know? Like, regardless of what they say to you, even if it hurts your feelings, like, that hurt my feelings, I'm not going to just put her down just because she said that, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of when I would say something. When something, like, kind of hurts my feelings, like, kind of, like, serves me the wrong way, but also I want them to know that, hey, you know what, I respect your decision, I respect your opinion, but this is how I feel. This is what I feel, you know? So, so yeah, so when should you not say something?
Okay.
I have a huge problem with this.
It's okay. I mean, I definitely used to. Like, anybody who has known me from a young age, like, they knew. Like, I used to be a bitch, honestly, like, not gonna lie. Like, even as a little kid, like, I was a little brat. Like, I was rude, I was disrespectful, and I would say hurtful things to my parents, to my friends, to people I knew, because, like, I guess I didn't care or didn't realize that, like, it hurt them. So I started to learn just, like, when to, like, not say something to people. Like, people would purposely push my buttons, and so I would sit back and I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to let them have that control over me. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to evaluate the situation, and then I'm going to act once I'm in a good state of mind. And that is when I will say something. Because every single time I'd have, like, an argument, I would say something with my parents. Like, I would always just be like, I hate you, Mom. You don't love me. Just, like, saying, like, really stupid stuff. But, I mean, as I got older, like, it gets more hurtful. Like, instead of calling your mom, like, a butthead, you're saying, like, super disrespectful stuff. Like, stuff like that. Or, like, friends, if you get in an argument or whatever, like, you're a stupid B-word. Like, you're stupid. You're awful. I hate you. Like, I'm gonna tell everybody in this school that you're a slut. Like, stuff like that. Like, awful stuff. I mean, I've never said anything like that. But, I mean,
right.
I could totally see myself saying something like that, looking back on it, and I would not have even cared, and I would have just blamed it on the other person, instead of me just stepping back, reading the message, stepping back, and being like, hey, I know you're heated right now, but you need to take a chill pill, and then you need to see what would be the best thing to say to this person to avoid making the situation any worse than it could possibly be.
Right.
And let me tell you, like, there's so many different situations this could apply to. Like, this is, like, I feel like this is a very good attribute that I have, honestly, that I've learned, and that I hopefully can teach to y'all. You've definitely been getting better with it since I first met you. Not in, like, a bad way, though. But,
no, yeah, definitely, for sure.
But, it just comes with the state of mind, you know? You just have to step back, look at your situation, and act from there. So some situations I would step back, refrain from saying anything until you have that peace of mind to where you're not gonna flip out on this person. Just say like the first thing that comes to your head. Yeah, some situations I would say would be like getting in an argument with your friends, getting in an argument with your family, like any sort of like conflict, like deep jabs that people are taking at you. Take a step back and just be like, hey, like, what the fuck? And I know there's some situations you can't do that. So, I mean, when you're at work, and let's just say, like, a customer says something really, really, really hateful to you, don't, like, snap at them and be rude or whatever, even though you really want to, because there have been some situations I have wanted to do that so bad. But just take a step back and be like, you know what? They're probably having a really, really shitty day. Obviously, a shitty enough day to where they have to go pick on some random person in customer service. And you just say, okay, this is your total, have a nice day. There's a lot of situations where you have to, like, keep your cool, and that's just something you have to learn, and that's just my advice to y'all. Like, if you want to learn how to know when to not say something, it's just, like, look back, like, don't shut down, but take a step back. Make sure that they know that you're not just, like, walking away from the argument. Just take a step back, calm yourself down, and be like, this is the best way I can respond to this person without having them blow up and without you not getting your point across. Because the worst thing is when you walk away from an argument and you just feel like you have not said anything. Yep. Even though you felt like you've said a lot, you just haven't said anything at all. Just make sure that you are articulating your sentences, like, saying, like, the best thing that you can without, like, making everybody, like, mad or saying, like, hurtful things off the top of your head, you know?
That goes with our next subcategory. It's how to speak your mind with tact, you know? Whenever you are speaking your mind, though, in an argument or in a work-related situation or in a fast food situation or a restaurant, wherever, and you are speaking your mind, you need to speak it with tact, because if you don't and you say the first thing that's on your mind, you're going to end up honestly not being respected. You're going to end up with a lot of karma, and if you don't believe in karma, I'm sorry, but it's very real, it's very true, and I feel sorry if you don't believe in karma, because
she's coming for you.
Yeah, literally. And tact doesn't necessarily mean, like, very, like, just professional and just, like, you know, just fancy and just, like, using all these awesome words, whatever. No, it's, like, processing it, like you said, taking a step back, but still speaking your mind. Before, whenever I was younger, I was the same way. I would just speak my mind, first thing that was on my mind. If I was in an argument with my mom, oh my god, we would go at it like freaking cats and dogs, like just, you know, and now that I'm older and I do know what tact is, and I do know how to speak my mind with very humble heart, or a very humble mind, I guess you could say, it's made a huge difference. And we're not just telling you these things just to just tell you. No, it's like, this is going to make a huge difference in all areas of your life, because if you start working on this, then you're going to benefit from your work relations, you're going to benefit from your family relations, you're going to benefit from yourself, how you speak to yourself. And that's a big thing, because if you speak to yourself, oh, I'm fat, your body doesn't know that, you maybe not think that, but if you speak those things into existence, per se, then those things will start coming true. So that is literally the same way with everything else. Like, if you're going to talk about with your family, if you're going to talk with your friends or at work, anything, like, so whenever you're speaking your mind, you have to speak it with tact, because if you don't, then you're going to find yourself in a lot of struggles and bad situations. You're going to find yourself, honestly, probably with no friends, because that's how I ended up.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of, in a sense, but, and you're going to end up, honestly, being hateful towards yourself, and you don't want that. I mean, just because you can't take the time to be like, okay, what does tact mean to me, or how can I speak my mind, or how can I know when to say something, or how can I, know when to not say something, like, how can I do this? Like, all you need to do is just sit down and think. Or test yourself. So go out, and if you find yourself in situations like that, then test yourself. Take our advice and see how it works for you, because it's not hard. It's not rocket science.
A lot of people, what they equate, like, having tact with, or they equate, like, sitting back and not saying anything immediately. They take that as losing. Like, they're losing an argument. Like, they're just being walked over. But it's like, honestly, it's not even like that.
And even the other person sometimes does, too.
Yeah.
So my advice, sorry to cut you off,
That's
but
okay.
Is to say, you know what, hang on, let me think about it, and then I'll get back to you. Like, if we're in an argument right now and you say something hurtful, be like, okay, let me get back with you. Because if you say that, and if you tell them, I'll get back to you right then and there, then they're going to be waiting.
Yeah.
And then you're going to come back with something very humble, very tactful, Go ahead, sorry.
No, it's okay. Like, that's basically what I was going to say. Like, you can...
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'm in your mind.
You probably said it better than I could.
Shut up.
No, but, like, once you learn to, like, articulate your sentences to a point where you can get your point across, like, that is another way that, like, it all just connects. Like, when I was graduating, like, I had not very many friends, but, I mean, I still had those people around me, and then right after I graduated, no one was there for me. And it was because I was such an awful person. Like, I would just, like, I was petty. I would attack anybody I could, because it gave me some sense of, like,
gratification almost.
Yes, like, it made me feel good to put others down, and I don't know why. Like, I look back on it and I'm like, I feel terrible when I do that now. But I learned that, like, arguing isn't everything. Like, being right isn't everything.
You will learn that the hard way, one way or the other. Trust me. Gosh, dang.
But yeah, that is definitely how I try to speak with tact. Another way is just to avoid using, like, derogatory language. Like, avoid saying, like, the B word, like, calling somebody an F word, like, F you, stuff like that. Like, avoid just taking low blows. Like, you can get a point across without being hurtful. You just have to find, like, that fine line,
Oh, yeah.
Because honestly, nobody wants to talk to somebody who's just gonna be like, oh yeah, she's a stupid fucking bitch, or being like, oh, I really don't like her, like, she's disrespectful, she's rude, like, saying something like that, as opposed to saying she's a stupid fucking bitch. People are gonna take you a lot more seriously when you don't take, like, low blows like that. You can say something and say it respectfully, as opposed to saying something just, like, rude and awful and just
first thing comes to your mind.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to your mind. That's another thing. Just don't say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Yeah, no.
That's the moral of this story. Do not say the first thing that comes to your mind. Having tact is having that patience. To, like, start that discussion. I wouldn't even call it an argument. Like, at this point, it is a discussion. You want to avoid having arguments with people. Have a discussion,
I like that.
Like, I think that it's just so many people today, like, especially with how the world is today, so many people just want to argue. Like, they want to argue about everything. They want to argue.
Who's right and right, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like there is no right answer. Like, if you have to argue about it, there's obviously not a right answer, you know?
Right.
Like, besides just, like, awful blatant stuff, you know? But you can speak your mind without being an asshole, you know? So, now that we've talked about when to say something and when not to say something, and then how to get your point across with tact, what do you do once you've made an oopsie and once you fucked up and said the first thing that comes to your mind? Like, what do you do after that?
Besides feeling really bad because I'm not a complete booty hole, I think about it. I think about how I would feel in the situation, but I don't act on that. I think about it, I process it. I obviously apologize. Of course I apologize. I go to them and I mean, I guess I just ask them, you know, because sometimes you don't ever know exactly when you fucked up, but you can always feel it whenever you know, like whenever you've said the wrong thing or when someone is acting different. That's when you know, like, that's when you know you probably said the wrong thing. And not always are you going to only, like, trust the vibes that you're feeling, but you know when you fucked up. Like, you know as soon as it comes out of your mouth. Like, you know how you're talking. You know how you can text. Like, you know what you're doing, you know? So, try to avoid that, but if you do, obviously we're all humans. We're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to fuck up, unfortunately. But once you do, apologize. Don't say sorry. Say I'm sorry. Because the difference is a huge difference. I mean, at least to me. A lot of people don't care, but, like, I know that someone's really sincere when they're saying, hey, I'm sorry. Or, hey, sorry. Like, you know, I could say the same tone, same everything, and it would still mean something way, way different, way more deeper for me whenever you say, hey, I'm sorry, or hey, sorry. Like, you know?
So when somebody comes to you and they've been like, you did hurt me, and, like, you fucked up, when you go to them, there's, like, a difference between saying, I'm sorry you feel that way, and, like, I'm sorry I did that to you. Like, I did not intend for that to come that way. There is, like, a complete difference in being like, I'm sorry you feel that way, and then being like, I'm so sorry I did that to you. Because that one is not an apology. One is just saying, you're an offended little bitch. And the other one is saying, I'm sorry. I did not want you to feel like that at all. That was not my intention. That is an apology. As opposed to saying, sorry you're offended. That's not my problem.
Right.
Because that's not being a nice human. Sorry.
Right.
Sorry, not sorry.
So apologize and just ask them, like, what can I do to make the situation better? Or how can we solve this? Like, always include we, so they don't feel like, oh, it's just, okay, well, you fucked up, like, this is what you need to do. No, it's, hey, what can we do to fix this? What can we do to solve this? You know, that works in relationships. Trust me. Me and Michael have fixed that part of our relationship, and it has been so much better. Oh, my God, when we have a situation and, you know, we're mad at each other or whatever, we always use we, because if you just point fingers and say you, and that's going to close someone off, and that's just going to
make them feel isolated.
Yeah, so always include we and say, how can we fix this? Or if you know that you fucked up and it's on you, then say, how can I fix this? Not, oh, you know what, if you didn't say that, then I wouldn't have fucked up. Or, no. That's not how you fix things. It's not going to fix anything. That's something that you keep to yourself if you really feel that way. I don't know if anyone's told you this, but if you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say it at all. It's that easy. I know that sometimes, honestly, no, I know that as humans, we are the not breed.
We're the breed. Like dogs.
We're the species, I guess. Yeah, like the dog. We're the species that wants revenge, you know, because revenge feels good, and revenge, we feel like badasses and whatever, because, you know, you do that to me, so I'm going to do this to you. No. Like, if you want to be a nice human, and if you want to be humble, and if you want to live a better life than the average asshole, then you're not going to freaking get revenge just because you feel like it, or you don't want to just say, oh, well, you know, this is what you did to me, so I deserve to do this to you. No, like, no one deserves that kind of hatefulness. You know? Anything to add?
The only thing I really want to add, sorry, not that cough. So the only thing I really want to add is when you're making an apology, if you made, like, multiple points, don't apologize for all the points you've made if there's, like, certain things that you said that you were, like, 100% set on. Because remember, you cannot take back what you've said. The only thing you can do is try to make up for it.
Yes, ma'am.
You can let people know that, like, these are certain things that I have said. Like, I said them, they are hurtful, and I want to apologize for that. What can I do to make this better? What can we do to solve this situation? I did not mean to hurt your feelings. But if there's, like, other little things you said, don't let them just let you apologize for everything you said. If you've said things before you snapped that you don't want to apologize for, don't let them trick you into apologizing for it. I've gone through that so many times just to, like, make amends with people. Like, I would have, like, genuine concerns with them, and I would say that, and then it would just lead up to this argument, and then I would just snap and just say all this awful stuff, and then be like, oh, well, you said all this. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. No, don't let them do that. Just be like, hey, like, I'm sorry I said this to you. Don't be like, I'm sorry for everything. Unless you did completely say all this awful stuff. Yeah. But, I mean, make sure that you're saying, I'm sorry I did this specific thing to you. Instead of just being, I'm sorry this whole thing happened. Because it makes it seem like you actually know what you did wrong. Instead of just being like, I'm really sorry everything happened. And then, like, everything as in, you're going to be like,
right? You're not going to be able to list everything.
Yeah. Okay, so on to our next topic.
Go ahead.
How to keep your cool. Okay. I have definitely had that problem. Not gonna lie.
Me too, just me.
Sometimes it gets really, 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 really hard. I think we can all relate to that. Like, sometimes you just want to scream in somebody's face.
Especially at Chicken Express.
Especially at Chicken Express, yes. Oh my goodness. But
so our first subcategory is feel for them.
Yes. So what I like to do, as I've, like, stated before, I like to take that step back, and I like to imagine myself in their place. When somebody is having a discussion with me, I don't want to just completely walk all over them. Like, we are equals in this conversation. Like, one person is not the holier than thou person. The other person isn't, like, a complete loser, like some awful piece of garbage. Like, y'all are on the same plane. Y'all are having an equal discussion, and you need to feel for that other person. This other person has emotions. They have feelings. They're a human. You know, you have to treat them like you're equal. Even though you're mad at this person, even though you're angry at this person, even if you don't agree with this person, even if you think this person's, like, crazy, like, you have to see them as your equal when you're talking to them. Because even if you don't like it, like, this person is a human too. They have feelings, they have emotions, you know? No matter how they wronged you, like, this person is a person, you know?
Yep. Like you said, like, there's no superior. There's no one that's going to be better than you, and you're not better than anyone else. So whenever you feel for people, that makes you humble as well. That works on how you see other people. That works on, you know, feeling for yourself too, because if you don't feel for someone else, then you're not feeling for yourself. You know, like, so whenever you're trying to keep your cool, I feel it's necessary to feel for someone else, because then you can realize, you know what, okay, I see what they're saying. I understand, because then if you're up here, you know, and you're trying to keep your cool, and then you see and you understand, then you're gonna find your center, you know, you're gonna come back and be like, okay, you know what, like, this is not even worth it, or, you know what, they're right, or, you know what, like, this is not as bad as I thought, you know, because whenever you think that you're better than everyone, or if you think that you're superior, you're not going to feel for someone. So you're not going to keep your cool. You're going to step all over someone. You're going to say hurtful things, and then you're not going to care. And then you're going to lose people like that. And that just goes back into communication. Like, you just got to make sure that you're speaking your mind with tact, and you're keeping your cool, and you're feeling for them. Because if you're not feeling for them, they're not going to feel for you. You know? So.
Exactly.
So our next subcategory is think before you speak, and this has honestly just been tying along with everything that we've been saying. I think we all know to think before you speak, because if you don't, then you're going to fuck up a lot. You're going to be mean, and you're not going to have any friends. You're not going to have any family members that wants to hang out with you. You're not going to, you know, be happy with yourself, because then you're going to realize, oh shit, like, I burned all these bridges. I wonder why. Like, because you're not thinking before you speak. And if you don't think before you speak, then you're not going to have all these great friends and great plans and happiness. You know, you're not going to keep your cool, because you're just going to speak before you think. So, I can't talk.
It's okay. So, what you were kind of saying, like, when you're in that situation where you've, like, burned all these bridges, like, you have mouth diarrhea with everything in your life, with every situation you've had in your life, you're just spewing out whatever you want to say. You're at this point and you're like, oh my god, like, it's everybody else's fault, like, everybody else is awful, they're terrible, but, like, in reality, like, the only finger you should be pointing is at yourself. Like, it's been you this whole time, you know, like, you can't blame anybody but yourself. Like, you made those poor decisions to have not even a conversation with somebody, to have an argument and a terrible discussion with somebody.
And this is much harder than, you know, it's easier to say this, you know, because, you know, you could be doing this your whole life and not even realize it, and then now you're gonna maybe, like, watch this video and be like, you know what, like, holy crap, like, I don't even think before I speak. And this is not going to just be something that you do overnight. I don't want to, like, put this all on you and think, oh, well, everyone's going to do this all overnight. Like, everyone's just going to think before they speak, and so everything's going to be perfect. No, like, this, everything that we're going over takes time, it takes patience, and it takes a lot of work and dedication and consistency, because if you don't be consistent in things that you're working on within yourself, then it's a waste of time, honestly, you know?
When we're discussing it right now, like, it seems like, oh, like, they're wanting me to just have, like, a long pause in a conversation. No, like, when you start learning this behavior, you can do it off the top of your head. Like, it used to take me, like, so long. Like, I'd be in an argument with my mom, I would just walk away and go to my room.
Or, like, an awkward pause.
It's or I just have an awkward pause in a conversation. Like, if I'm texting somebody, I just wouldn't respond, you know? But now, like, I can do it off the top of my head, and I'm like, oh, like, the first thing that comes in my head, and I just, like, bite my tongue, and I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say this instead.
Yep.
I'm gonna get this point across instead of just having mouth diarrhea. Like, that's, like, the worst thing you can do. You know, the only thing that's gonna solve your mouth diarrhea is sitting back and thinking about what you say and how it affects this other person. Because that was the worst thing I used to do. Like, back when I was, like, really, really, really petty, I would say things, but in my head, like, I knew they would be, like, really, really, really hurtful, and that's why I said them. I'm like, just taking, like, super low blows and just hurting somebody so bad and making them feel so inferior. So I won. Like, I won this argument, and I feel so much better now. But, like, that's not life. Like, that's not a way to live. Like, I look back on it now, and it makes me feel so sad and disgusted that I used to be like that, you know? And honestly, some people are looking at me now and being like, okay, yeah, whatever. But, I mean, I honestly feel like I've learned so much, like, these past few years. Because people who have known me in high school, they're probably looking at this now and be like, okay, yeah, whatever. But, like, I know the people around me definitely know that. Like, I'm not just some crazy monster anymore like I used to be. So it's just, like, it changes you. And I have, like, such a different perspective on life. Like, I feel so much better about myself now. Like, I don't feel so gross and negative, and I don't feel like everybody hates me all the time, you know? Right. And it feels good. It feels good to be a good person, you know? So our next subcategory in how to keep your cool is, we like to say it as, it's not you, it's them, which might sound a little contradictory to what we've been saying. But when you're in a situation, like, let's say you're at work and your boss comes up to you and she's getting really mad and she's just like, you didn't finish your paperwork, this is ridiculous, and she's getting in your face. You have to realize, like, oh, like, her boss is probably getting onto her, so she's taking it out on you. So you have to realize, like, okay, like, she's not mad at you for being awful or being mean. Like, she's not directly being mean to you. She's just venting her anger out on you, and you have to realize that, and then not snap at her and being like, well, fuck you, Karen. You can't just, you can't just be like that. You gotta realize, like, okay, like, she's obviously not in a good mood. Like, she's obviously having some problems right now. Like, it's not my fault, you know? Like, she might have some concerns that she's bringing to me. Like, I didn't finish my paperwork, but you have to realize, like, she's getting overly upset because of other situations going on in her life, whereas any other day she would just come up to you and be like, hey, like, you haven't finished your paperwork yet, like, I just want to check up on you. And today she's just coming at you screaming like, why haven't you finished your paperwork? It's always like this. And she's just like freaking out. You just need to look back and be like, okay, like, I'll get my paperwork done, you know, like, instead of just being like, yeah, well, I guess I'll just do that. Then you can be like, okay, well, I'm gonna get my paperwork done, thank you for letting me know. You know, maybe take it up with her later, be like, hey, like, I didn't like how you were so rude to me earlier, like, I didn't feel very respected by you, like, I feel like you shouldn't have come at me in that manner. And then you can have that conversation from there, and then she can be like, okay, I fucked up, and then take those steps to amend that with you, you know?
Yeah, and, that goes with anything. That goes with any situation that you find yourself in. If someone just, like, completely cuts you, like, cuts your head off and just derails you, basically, like, you have to, it depends on the situation, for sure, but you have to make sure that, like, if it is this kind of situation and you know that they're just having a bad day and it's just one of those days, you have to make sure that you realize that you've had one of those days before. You've done that before. So, yeah, maybe it's not really nice, but we all have bad days. We all have days that we're not going to be perfect and we're not going to, you know, handle our situations, you know, well. Like, you don't ever know what's going on in someone's life, so it's not there for you to judge. And if you are, you know, trying to have a conversation with someone and they do bite your head off and they just completely just, you know, go off on you, just put yourself in that situation and think, you know what, if I was having a bad day, this is probably how I would act, you know? I mean, this kind of sounds bad, but think of the worst situation that they could be going through and then act that way. Like, think, oh, you know what, their mom probably just died. That's probably why they're just so angry. Or that's probably why they're just acting like this. I mean, hell, I know that's kind of, like, crazy to think about, but it makes you step back and it makes you keep your cool and it makes you, like, not cut their head off too, you know? It makes you, like, just not really be a doormat, but also just, like, make sure that you're, like, realizing that, you know, it's just not worth it. Like, you know, and you'll know when it's a situation like it's not you, it's them. You'll know when it's like that because you can tell when people are having a bad day the moment you look at them. So instead of just completely going off on them back, you know, just say, like she said, okay, you know what, I'll take care of that, or okay, thank you, or whatever. And then the rest of the day, if you see them for the rest of the day, smile at them, be extra nice, be extra sensitive towards them, because we're all going to have a bad day. We're all going to go through things that we're not going to share with people. So you have to make sure that you keep that in mind whenever someone is just completely losing their shit on you.
So when somebody comes to you and you realize, like, it's not me, it's them, just make sure you're not, like, stooping to their level. Like, you make sure that you are trying to keep control of this situation when they obviously have not, you know. People do make mistakes. Every single person makes mistakes. They get upset, they have bad days, they're sick, you know, anything could be going on. So you have to be the one to take control of the situation when this other person is not, you know? And sometimes, like, you do have to take control. Like, it can't just be this other person always apologizing to you, always coming to you in a nice manner. Like, sometimes you have to be the one to take that first step and be like, you know what, like, they're having a bad day. Let me not make it worse.
Right.
Because that's, like, the worst thing you can do. It's just, like, if somebody's having an awful day, like, if they're sick, you know, their kid just got in trouble at school, all these things, and then somebody is just being rude to them on top of that when they've obviously, like, when you're obviously upset and they're just being even ruder to you, like, that just makes your day even worse. So, like, being a nice human is just not making somebody else's day worse just because they said something mean to you. Because you're going to have rude people come up to you your whole life, and it says way more about you and how you react to the situation than it does about them. And that is one thing I have learned the hard way.
That's so freaking true.
Yeah.
That is so true. And also, if someone comes to you and, you know, maybe they're not having a bad day, maybe they just honestly are so just in that negative lifestyle, you know, maybe they just come to you and they just try to bring you down, or they try to knock what you are wanting to do with your life, or anything. And you know that they're the type of person to do that. You know that, you know, maybe they're not just having a bad day. That's just kind of how they are. Don't stoop to their level.
Yeah.
Don't go down there, because you got to stay level-headed. You got to stay up here. You got to stay on top. Not superior on top, but you got to stay on top of your shit. Not stoop down to people's level that they just think that they can just walk all over you, and they think that I actually care what they think. I hate when people think that it's okay to dog on your own personal dreams and goals. And, you know, this is definitely a type of situation where it's not me, it's them. Like, it's not what I'm doing wrong, it's their own insecurities. If someone's going to be rude to you and they're going to, like, belittle you, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with their insecurities and how they live their life. And it says a lot more about them when they're going to come to you without you even wanting their opinions on anything. And they're going to just tell you how it is, when in reality they're just jealous, or they're just bitter because they can't live that kind of lifestyle, or whatever. So that is definitely a situation where maybe it's not they're having a bad day, but maybe they're just honestly in that negative mindset and that negative lifestyle that they have to try to put you down to get you out of your positive lifestyle.
So our next topic definitely ties into that last point you were making. So this topic
does. Wow. Yes. So actually the category is selfish versus selfless.
Yes.
So the subcategory, go ahead.
Okay, this is perfect. This is my favorite thing. I have so many.
Me
it's
too.
Usually women.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately. Not in like a sexist manner, but I mean, usually women call themselves bitches. But it's when a girl comes to you,
or usually, a guy. I mean, a guy could do this too.
I could totally see a guy doing this, but it's usually women that come to me and say it.
Right.
So they say, "I'm not a bitch. I'm just honest." So let me just start there. If you have to say that, you're a fucking bitch. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, yes. Like, not even you're not a bitch. It's just you're a hateful person.
Yes. Like, you shouldn't have to tell me that you're not a bitch. I should be able to tell that by your behavior. You know, like, being rude is not a personality trait.
No. Being angry or being hateful is also not a personality trait. It's not. I mean, you can make it one, but why would you want to make that your personality trait? Like, why would you want to consistently put others down, or consistently be blatantly honest, or be a bitch because that's just how you are, when that hurts people's feelings?
Yes.
I don't care who you are. You don't need to be acting like that, you know? Like, that's not fair. That's not, you don't deserve that. You don't deserve to be treated like that. I don't deserve to be treated like that. No one does. And you can be honest without being a bitch.
Exactly.
Heck? I don't know why people think, oh, I'm not a bitch. I'm just honest. Like, what? No. It's okay. No, like you said, you shouldn't have to say that. Like, no.
When somebody tells you, like, I'm not a bitch, I'm just honest, like, yes, like, you can be completely honest with somebody without being a bitch. Just like we explained, like, there are ways that you can come to somebody, give your honest opinion, give your honest ideas, just give your honest self to somebody without being rude and disrespectful. And then I don't know why nowadays, but people just think that's like a personality trait. It's just like, oh, like, I'm just so quirky, like, I'm not a bitch. Like, I just love just speaking my mind and hurting everybody's feelings and just not caring who I hurt because I don't take any self-accountability. Like, please do not be like that. Like, nobody will want to hang out with you, you know? And, like, that might be your goal. Like, oh, like, I don't care about anything. But it's just, like, you'll take a step back and you'll be like, I drove everybody away. Like, why don't you want to be a good person? Like, I just don't understand people like that. Like, I genuinely don't. You can tell people around you how you're feeling. You can tell them honestly, there's, like, ways that you can tell people anything you want to them with being, like, which is having tact, you know? Like what we were saying earlier. You can just tell people stuff that you want to tell them without hurting their feelings. Like, that part with you hurting their feelings is because you want to hurt their feelings. It's not because you're doing it on accident, because if you did it, then you did it on purpose, you know?
And you honestly, like, maybe you don't specifically think, okay, I want to hurt someone today. Like, how can I? No, but you can definitely subconsciously do that. You can definitely do that without even realizing it. And that's probably the most hurtful thing, is when someone says that and then they don't even realize, or they're not even, like, thinking that, oh, you know what, that actually makes me a bitch. Like, that really does, you know? Like, I've had many friends in my past be like that, and I'm not their friend anymore because of it. I mean, I'm not trying to, like, talk shit, but, like, it's just something that I don't want to associate myself with, because someone is trying to be honest with me. Like, there's a whole different way of being honest with someone over just being a complete booty hole. Like, I don't understand, like, how people can just, like, either knowingly or just, like, not care and just, like, speak like they own everyone or something, you know? So our next subcategory is how to avoid being a doormat. So this one kind of goes along with the how to not, or when to not say something and when to say something, kind of, because, you know, you kind of, I don't know how to put this, but just don't take shit. Like, just don't be a doormat. Like, I know that maybe sometimes you don't try to be a doormat, but a lot of people do. A lot of people are like, oh, I'll just take it, like, whatever. Don't cower down to people, because you can still speak your mind, and you can still be like, hey, you know what? No, you're not going to treat me like that, because if you are a doormat, it's going to keep happening.
Yes.
It's going to keep happening. It's going to be a vicious cycle, and it's going to be something that it's going to be very hard to pull yourself out of, because being a doormat for so long, I've come out of it finally, and that's why I am very open about what I say. But growing up, when in high school and stuff, oh my gosh, people wipe their dirty feet all over me because I just took things, and I was like, oh, whatever, I won't say anything. No. No, ma'am. That's not how you live your life. That is not any way to be treated, because if you, like I said, if you put up with that, then you're not going to know what you're worth, and you're not going to know what to put up with. You're not going to know how to say anything. It's just like I said, a vicious cycle that you're not going to want to be in. Yes. Trust me when I say this. I know that it's pretty common to be bullied in high school and be a doormat in high school, but if you don't work on it after high school, it's going to carry over into college, into work, into your family life. If you have a family, like, no, like, just cut that shit right now. If you are a doormat, and if you feel like this is something that you are right now, because you're too scared to say something or speak your mind because of what others may think or what others may do, no one's going to hurt you as much as, honestly, you're hurting yourself by being a doormat and by taking things and just not saying anything because you think that that's just gonna solve everything, and you think that that's just being humble. No. I know that you can speak a lot on this too, because I know that you're very passionate about this, but
I've definitely come from both ends where, like, I would just speak my mind all the time, did not care, and then I would be like just a complete doormat. Like, I've definitely been getting better with it now, but, like, I used to be like a complete doormat. But what a lot of people see, and what I thought it was, is that either you were just, like, you let people walk all over you, or you just said anything that came to your mind. You just, you were just a bitch, like, all the time. Like, either you're a bitch or you're just a stupid doormat.
Right.
But people have to realize, like, there is a gray area in the middle where you can be both.
It's not black and white.
No, it is definitely gray. All different shades of gray. There are so many different ways that you can be both. And that's really good, because, like, that whole gray area is just, like, good things that you can be, you know? Anything on these polar opposite sides, just, like, just completely completely avoid doing that. Like, that does not make you a good person, you know? People think it does, like we were saying before. That does not make you a good person to be like that. But also, being too nice, being too like, oh, okay, it's fine, you know,
kind
whatever.
Kind of naive.
Just very naive, you know? That's not okay either, you know? Even people just be like, oh my god, like, she's so sweet, and it might be endearing like that, you know? People might say these nice things about you, but behind their back, they're like, oh yeah, like, everybody talks so bad about her, she doesn't even care, you know? They just say all these awful things.
You lose respect. You lose so much respect.
And people lose that respect for you in that sense where it's just like, you obviously don't care enough about yourself to say something, and then on the other point, if you completely defend yourself and be like, no, you're stupid and whatever, they're gonna be like, oh my god, like, she's so rude and she's awful, like, and they'll lose your respect in that sense. Yeah. So you have to make sure you're in that middle area where you can speak your mind, say it in a good way, and then there's times where you don't even have to say anything. Like, your silence is like the best response is just silence, you know? Because if somebody's like being rude to you and you just stop talking, what else are they gonna say? They're gonna keep saying stuff. Yeah. They look like an idiot, you know? They're the stupid one losing their respect, you know? So to avoid being a doormat, just speak your mind, but take the steps that we provided before, you know, say what's on your mind, say it with tact, be polite about it, but also know that, like, you're not a doormat just because you don't say stuff, you know? You can listen to what people say, and then you can articulate your response without being a doormat. Like, that does not make you a doormat, you know? But yeah.
Another thing that I was thinking about is, even if you are a doormat, whatever, you still learn a lot from being down there.
Yes.
My process growing up was, I was a doormat, and then I spoke my mind before I even thought about it. And then now I'm, like, at that point where, like, okay, here, I'm in the gray. Like, I'm in the middle. Like, I'm good. I'm rocking it, you know? But we all have our different processes. And, like, no matter where you are in your life right now, and if you don't feel like you're a doormat, you can still become one. Yes. So you have to take all these things and more things. Obviously, there's a lot more to this than we're obviously talking about. But to avoid being a doormat again, or for the first time or ever, you've got to make sure that you know your worth. Like, I cannot tell you that enough. I will always say that in every single episode. You have to know your worth, because if you don't, oh my gosh, how many things are going to happen? You're going to be on a doormat. You're going to be disrespected. People are going to just talk shit about you because they don't respect you, you know? And that comes with being a doormat. Like, I feel like that, just being a doormat is just like, no respect, no worth.
People treat you like you're disposable, you know?
Yes, or they can just wipe your feet on whatever, like, and you're still going to be there the next day to take you their shit, yeah.
And they just, like, they feel like you're not, like, worth anything, so you're just easily replaceable, you know? They don't even, sometimes they don't even realize you're there, like, sometimes, like, being a doormat, like, does not make you a good friend. Like, it doesn't make you necessarily a good person either. Right. Like, if you're a doormat when people are talking shit about your friends, like, when people are talking bad about your friends, and then you just let them do that, like, that does not make you a nice person. That doesn't make you a good person.
You're just as guilty as the shit talker.
Yeah, you are guilty as hell.
If not more.
Yeah, because honestly, that's like a whole other level of just, like, disrespect, you know? You lose respect for your friends for that.
Like, if you're a doormat in a sense of you're just gonna, like, take everything and you're just, like, hear people talk shit about each other and whatever, and, like, no, that's God giving you that freaking opportunity to speak up and be like, you know what? No, ma'am. No, sir. You're not gonna say that about them because they don't deserve that. Regardless if they are, you know, doing the bad thing, whatever, like, no one deserves someone to just talk crap about them all the time. And if you're a doormat and you take that and you just listen to it all day, and you're guilty, you're more than guilty, because you're hearing it. You're not only hearing it, but you have the opportunity to change it. The person that was speaking, they can't take that back, so they already fucked up, but you're the one that's on the outside, and you're taking it, but you're not going to do anything with it. Like, that is the most disrespectful thing that you can do, because being that kind of doormat is probably the worst kind of doormat, in my opinion.
Oh, you know? Definitely.
But
so were you going to say something?
Go ahead. No.
I was just gonna say that leads into our next topic, which is
definitely does.
What is like the good and the bad of being like selfless and then being selfish, you know?
Right.
Because there are nice positive things and negative things to both.
Yeah.
Even though selfish is usually seen as like a negative thing, I don't think that it's inherently negative. I think that it's
people
just
make it negative.
People do make it negative. Like in certain aspects, I don't think it's wrong to be selfish, you know?
No.
So a lot of good things about being selfless are you learn how to put others before yourself, which isn't necessarily bad, you know? Like, you can make sure that the people around you are taken care of. Like, I'm selfless when it comes to Katie, you know? Like, I would, like, take this shirt off my back right now, even though I don't have a bra on. If she needed
girl,
it.
Same. I would do the same thing for you, even though I don't ever wear bras.
I'm so dead. But, you know, like, being selfless, you know, you can put those people before you, you know, like, the people that matter, like, you can show them that you care, and it gives them that idea, like, wow, like, this person respects me, and then they give you that respect back, you know. It helps you build that community, helps you, you know, grow on that, you know. What are some good things that you think are for selfless people?
Well, I think that being selfless makes you humble. I'm all about being humble. I'm all about being kind because I've learned my fair share of humble people and non-humble people, and I've realized that I want to be humble. I want to be kind. I want to be kind to anyone and everyone because that's what we all deserve. You know, I may not be a humanitarian, but I do believe that we all deserve humbleness and we all deserve kindness. So a very positive attribute of being selfless is just doing things out of your own will, not even out of spite because you think that you have to do it just to be selfless. Like, no, that's just, to me, that's just negative. Like, if you're just doing things just to look good, like, that's, I feel like that would be, like, a bad thing, part of it.
Definitely.
But just, like, basically, like what you said, yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I have lots of negatives because a negative attribute of being selfless is you're not giving yourself the time of day. Like, if you're not being selfless, like, you're not being nice to other people, but you're losing that chance on yourself because, you know, whenever we are selfless, we have an opportunity to grow. We have an opportunity to expand and to inspire other people and empower yourselves and empower others, you know? So if we're not doing those things and if we're not being selfless, that's a negative thing. You're not going to be any of those things if you're not being selfless. So any negatives about selfless?
When you focus too much on other people, you start to lose that, like, inner sense of, like, I don't want to say self-respect, but if you're putting others so much before yourself that you're not even realizing you need to meet your own needs, like, I feel like that's not good. Like, you start to lose a sense of, like, who you really are.
Sense
if you're
of
like
self, yeah.
And that makes you into a doormat. That behavior leads you into being a doormat. Like, if you're doing so much for other people, like, you need to step back and be like, I need to do some stuff for myself.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Which I feel like leads into the selfish part. Like, when you are selfish, sometimes it's good to be selfish. Like, sometimes you need to focus on yourself. Yeah. Like, you can't let other people always just take control of your life. Like, you need to be selfish and take control of your life. Do things that are good for you, and then you can focus on the others, you know? Like, sometimes it's fine to focus on other people, but, like, for the other parts, like, you need to focus on yourself, you know?
Right. And it might seem like you're being selfish for taking those or mental health days or self days, like a self-care day, you know? Like, it might feel selfish because, you know, you're so used to putting everyone else above you or before you. But whenever we do that, oh my gosh, it is so beneficial. We start to realize that there's so many other things to love. Like, whenever we are selfish, we realize, not even like that, but whenever we are selfish in a good way, we realize, you know, we will gain more confidence. We will realize that there's so many things about ourselves that we can love. You know, being selfless can lead you to not loving yourself because you do put everyone else and just, you know, everyone's on a pedestal and you're not. So that can lead to losing that self-confidence, that self-esteem, you know. So being selfish will regain that, and in a good way though, not selfish as in it, you know what like a bad attribute of selfish is, like everyone knows that, but like being good, like selfish wise, is to take those self-care days for yourself, even though every day that you go to your bed, like say every day I go to your house, okay, well, oh, you know what, today I'm gonna actually stay home and, you know, take a bath and whatever, and that might be a good attribute of being selfish, because that's not selfless. I've
done that to you before. I'm just like, I want to stay home. I'm going to take a bath, you know. And there's nothing wrong with that.
And you have to respect that, you know. If she does that, I'm going to go do that too. That's a good idea. Like, you know, let's have a self day, you know. That's good. You need that space. You need that. Oh my gosh, like people don't realize it. Like if you don't give yourself that space, or if you don't give your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend that space, or anyone that space they need, like, your relationship's going to shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Like, it gets suffocating. Like, you can't constantly be around, like, the person you love or, like, the people you love. Like, you need a break for yourself. Like, isolation is not a bad thing sometimes. Like, I have learned to appreciate it, you know? Like, a nice calm day where I have myself. I love being home alone sometimes.
Me too.
Not at night though, like it freaks me out. But during the day, I'm just like, this is so great. I'm just like, oh. I'm like, I'm gonna go watch TV naked.
And nobody, I'm gonna cook naked.
And nobody can say anything about it because there's nobody home.
It's so funny.
But it's just like
it's so true though.
And it's just like those little things that you take for granted any other time. It's just like, oh, this is nice. I can cook naked. I can go watch TV naked. I can do whatever I want because nobody's home. And that leads into the little selfish part, but in a good way. You know, doing stuff for yourself.
All right, so that basically just sums up everything over our Be a Nice Human. So if y'all have any other tips, tricks, anything that y'all want to call it, let us know. Comment down below or send us a DM on Instagram, Twitter. Text me if you have my number. I'm sure y'all do. So, but yeah, if you have any other things that we should add, or maybe the things that, you know, we didn't cover and you got an idea from what we went over, just let us know. And also, if you are struggling with any of these, and you feel like you are a doormat, or you feel like you are a negative person that's mean to everyone, reach out to us. We will definitely take time out of our day and give you advice. And we're not going to come at you like, oh, well, this is what you need. No. Like, we're going to hear you. We're going to feel for you. And we're going to be there for you, because that's what this is all about. That's what Vibe Studio is about, being there for you. Because if we're not there for you, then we're not doing this for the right reasons, you know? So, anything you want to add?
The only thing I really want to add is, like, we're not coming from this place of, like, we're perfect humans.
Oh, no.
You know, like, we're not holier than thou. Like, we're coming from a point of view where we've both just been on, like, completely opposite ends of the spectrum. Like, we're coming from a point of just pure experience, you know?
Been there, done that, yep.
We're giving the best advice that we can to y'all, so y'all can learn hopefully quicker than we did.
Yeah.
Being seriously. 20 years old.
Yeah. But that's a very good point. Like, we're not coming from a place of, oh, we're better than y'all, like, this is what y'all need to do.
Yeah.
No, like, this is just something, like you said, like, from experience. Like, we know what it's like to be a doormat, and we know what it's like to be a bitch. So, coming from a place of now we're both, like, very open to talking about it now and letting people know that, hey, that's not how you should live, you know? Like, that's just kind of where we're at. Like, I don't want anyone to think that, you know, we think that we're better than everyone, because that's literally not at all how we are. I promise you that. So
we're not judging y'all either. Like, we get it. Like, we've been to a point like, we've been a bitch, we've been a doormat. Like, if y'all are just like, that's literally me. No, like, we're not trying to attack you or anything. We're just saying, like, this is what was wrong in our life. This is how we fixed it. And then we're hopefully giving this advice to y'all. If y'all are thinking that, hopefully you'll make a change. Because it's not fun to think like that. Like, I've spent so many nights in my bed just crying. I'm like, I'm a bitch. Nobody likes me. Like, I'm like, I did this to myself, and I just felt so sorry for myself instead of, like, going out there and doing something about it, you know?
But honestly, like, sometimes you need that. Like, sometimes you need to be like, you know what? Fuck, like, I fucked up. Like, you need to cry in bed. Like, you need to realize that, like, how you treat others and hurting others is not the way to live, you know? So going through that is something that's going to help you more than us just sitting here talking to you about it, you know? So
it just comes right back towards you.
Towards you.
It comes right back to you, so.
Yep.
There's no point in living your life like that. Your life is just going to be awful if you live like that, you know? Coming up next, Katie's Natural Remedy.
Hello, divine beings. Thank you for your interest in a holistic lifestyle. Enjoy my tips and tricks. Hello. All right. So I am going to be teaching you how to make your own shampoo that is chemical free. So the first thing that you will need is obviously soap. This is the Dr. Bronner's Baby Unscented. It actually has hemp in it as well. It's very concentrated, so it's very, like, not thick. It's very watery and just, you know. So you have to dilute it. You can't just, I mean, you can, but, I mean, you're just going to be wasting a bunch of things that you can dilute, you know. So you'll need that, and you can get that at Walmart for $10. And so I would definitely spend $10 on a big bottle like this. I've already made my other shampoo that I have, and I've used that for a couple months now, and I've used my body wash as well. So I mean, that's the only thing I've used. I mean, I've used this a couple times for my face, and when I went out of town, I just grabbed it. So then you'll also need a glass or a ceramic container. A glass container was what I recommended, with like a little top on it or whatever you can find that would work for you. I got this at Walmart for like $2, so it's really, really inexpensive. Yeah, nothing really fancy about this. It's basically like for oil or vinegar dispensing, and then you can find it in like the home goods area at Walmart. And you'll also need some olive oil, and then your essential oils. So with essential oils, you have to be careful with what essential oils you use. I do not recommend getting any from Walmart because those probably more than likely have chemicals in them, and we're trying to get away from the chemicals. And also, if you are buying a really cheap essential oil, you're paying for what you're getting, honestly. Like, I would much rather spend a little bit more and get exactly what I know I'm getting. Like, if I'm buying a lemon essential oil, I want to make sure I'm getting lemon and not lemon plus chemicals or artificial lemon, you know what I'm saying? So I have 4 oils with me here. I use about 6 oils total in my shampoo. The first one I have here is the spearmint. I use spearmint purely for the smell, honestly. There's a lot of good benefits. It's a very uplifting essential oil. I use lemon. Lemon balances your pH naturally. It also is really good for the skin. It cleanses it. It's very antibacterial, antifungal. The lime essential oil is another one that I'm just like, I love so much. It rejuvenates the skin as well. A lot of these have the same benefits, which is really cool because you're not only getting one benefit, like the uplifting mood for one of them, you're getting them for all of them. So, I mean, I like that. I like that they all have similar benefits because it's just extra, I guess you could say. Then I have tangerine. Tangerine naturally cleanses the skin as well as uplifts the mood, and let's see, I have yeah, basically the same thing. They all have a positive aroma, which I love. And then the other 2 I use is one is rosemary. Rosemary is very, very good for hair growth. It also is an antibacterial and an antifungal as well. And then melaleuca, which is tea tree oil, is also antibacterial. It's very, very, very good to cleanse the skin. That's what I use mainly as with the cleansing part of it, as well as for dry and itchy skin. So if you have dandruff, it's really good for that. Alright, so you'll take your container. I'm not going to make it here with y'all because I already have some, but I just wanted to get these ingredients and things out to show y'all exactly what they look like and exactly what I use. So when I say 1/4, I mean 1/4 of this container, not 1/4 of a cup. So I would use 1/4 of Dr. Bronner's in this. So I just kind of eye it up 1/4 right there. And then I use olive oil. So I put about 2 tablespoons. It's really just up to you on how much you want to put in there. That's honestly up to you. Alright, so I use about 10 drops of each essential oil. That's just kind of what I like. It's definitely up to you on how strong you want the shampoo. Also, these essential oils, I really suggest doTERRA because they do an individually testing on each bottle, so they don't necessarily tell you, oh yeah, it's organic, just trust us when we say that. No, like they prove it to you that they test it and they make sure that it is organic. So each, like so lemon, lime, they all come from where they're actually grown, like their home state or home country that they're actually from. You know, they're not just from the US, they're not just from Mexico, like no, like it's literally from exactly where it's supposed to be grown. So you also, if you can't afford doTERRA, which I totally understand, you can also just really look for labels. So say that you find it says organic essential oil. Okay, so what you need to look for is the FDA. It says certified FDA organic, and if it just says that, like FDA organic, but it doesn't have the circle label, which I'll post up here, then it's not going to be what you need. Trust me, it's not organic. It has to have the FDA organic label or it's not organic, no matter what the box says, no matter if it says organic, it doesn't label. No, don't use that shit because it has chemicals in it. Why would you want to put chemicals on or in your body or even on your child, you know, like, so yeah. So that's all I got for this. If y'all have any questions, please let me know. If y'all have any concerns or if y'all want to talk about something or if y'all have more information about this stuff that I'm not covering, please let me know. So yeah, I guess I'll just sign off right here. So bye.
Coming up next, Alexa's spooky story. Welcome back to this week's spooky story. Sit down, get cozy, and let's get started. This week, I've got a very special story for y'all. This is a personal story of mine, one in which I've kept secret from many people due to the fact it still scares me so much to this day. For our video watchers out there, I'll provide pictures of the encounter on screen for y'all to enjoy. Let's get into it. It was a warm July night, the year of 2016. I was a newly turned 17-year-old who was very active on the social media site Facebook. I was up late, scrolling through my Facebook feed aimlessly when I got a message from a user I'd previously interacted with. Looking back on the messages now, this person is now listed as a simple Facebook user, meaning I can no longer see the user's profile information. I don't remember much about this person, besides the fact he was a young man, maybe around 20 to 21 years old, and he was a typical skater bro. From now on in this story, we will be addressing this Facebook user as Tom, since his name will be forever unknown. As the message appears on my screen, I look at the time, 12:48 a.m. The message from Tom said, "Can I talk to you?" with a laughing emoji. I assumed maybe this guy was bored or lonely, so I thought, why not, and began a conversation with him. Almost immediately after I replied to him with a simple, "Sure, LOL," he sent me a picture of a doorway and he captioned it with, "So, I'm staying in a haunted house right now and... A sense of dread filled my body and I continued to stare at the dark doorway. Something about the picture felt... off. Tom continued to tell me about all the weird things happening in this supposed haunted house. Things such as the lights flickering and a creepy old rocking horse moving on its own. These things aren't too bad, I thought. until he told me he was the only one home. According to Tom, he was staying alone at his recently deceased grandfather's house, preparing for a funeral the upcoming day. I felt really bad for him, so I gave him the best advice I could. I told him everything from lighting some white candles to making a salt circle, but unfortunately, this was to no avail. Every solution I tried offering was somehow not working. Despite my best efforts to put the image out of my head, I couldn't stop thinking about the photo Tom had sent me. Something about the photo just wasn't right, even though there was nothing in the photo. Or was there? Suddenly, I had an idea and I opened up my favorite editing app. A rush of anxiety hit me as I went to the filters and I adjusted the brightness of the photo. As I increased the brightness, an image somehow hidden in the darkness emerged, making my heart drop into my stomach. There was no way. The hidden image was a ghostly figure shrouded in darkness, its head appearing towards the top right of the doorway with its eyes open wide. In a panicked daze, I quickly saved the edited photo to my gallery and I sent it to Tom. It was seconds after I sent this photo that Tom responded with, "Oh my god, okay, I'm leaving. Nope." And he told me he didn't feel good. He told me he had a headache and it just suddenly came out of nowhere. I didn't hear much from him after that last message, and I don't think I ever will. So I'm just gonna leave it at this. Tom, if you're listening to this, I hope you made it out alive. Okay, y'all, so for this week's game time, we're doing something a little bit different. It's not going to be necessarily a game, but we have 8 slips of paper in here that some of Katie's lovely, lovely coworkers wrote for us, and there are situations. So we're going to decide if we are going to say something or we're not going to say something.
Right. And I don't know what these say. She doesn't know what they say, so we're just going to go at it.
Mm-hmm. So there's going to be no winners because it's not really a game. But ooh, she's going right for it.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so we're each going to pick one. So we're going to have 4 total each.
Right.
So, let's see here. If you are visiting a friend and they don't have their spare bed ready, and in parentheses it says, when they said they would, what do you do?
So, I probably wouldn't say anything.
Me neither.
I probably would just say, oh, whatever. Like, I usually bring my own blankets and pillows anyway, so.
Me too.
I probably wouldn't say anything. I don't know. That's just not really a fight that I want to pick.
I don't know. I probably wouldn't say anything either. I don't think it's really worth saying anything.
Nah.
Just be like, oh, I mean, I might kind of like slightly be like, oh, like, where do you want me to sleep? You know, like, if,
yeah.
Just like in like a passive way. And they're like, oh, like, you're sleeping here, you know, like, so you're not coming off as like.
But what if you already know where you're supposed to sleep and it's just kind of like, I mean, I personally wouldn't care either way. I'm very easy to please in that sense, but I know some people are very, like, picky with that. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if it really bugged me that much, and if, because I think it said in this spare, they don't have their spare bed ready.
Mm-hmm.
I would guess that means, like, the bed isn't made, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I would just be like, oh, okay, like, are there any sheets I can get or whatever? Like, I can help you make the bed or whatever.
Yeah.
Or it's just like, what sheets would be best so I can make my bed?
Right.
So don't make it be like, oh, go make my bed. Just
like, I thought you were going to do this for me.
Yeah, just be like, oh, like, what are some sheets I can use for my bed? Like, I'll go make it really fast, you know? Mm-hmm. Just really stuff like that. So they'll be like, oh my god, like, I'm so sorry. And you'll be like, oh, no problem. Like, just address it, you know? Mm-hmm. That sounded crisp, girl.
All right. So if someone is walking in a grocery store with their zipper down, would you say something?
I think it depends. Sometimes, like, people aren't, like, very approachable or whatever, but I would definitely not leave somebody hanging with their schlong out, you know? I
would definitely say something, too.
I would go up to them and be like, just, like, not like, hey, dude, I can see your underwear.
Yeah.
I would just be like, just like go up to them like, hey sir, I noticed that your fly's down. They're like, oh,
I would make a joke out of it. I'd be like, hey, the flies are getting out or something. Like,
I'm really stupid. So I've literally had people do that. I'm like, flies? And like, they're like, they finally are just like, your zipper's out. I'm like, oh, thank you.
That's funny.
I'm so dense though, so that's just me.
So she did answer it. She said don't tell them. They might take it the wrong way. And then unless she is cute, then go for it.
I'm so dead.
My mother. Oh my god.
I love her.
That's so funny. Where'd you put the other one?
Oh, it's just stuck in the bigger.
Oh, okay, cool. It's so funny. I think you got two.
I was gonna say, I'm like, I think there's two in there. Okay. This is one from the same person. If a friend has a whitehead pimple.
Ooh. I would not say something. I don't know, because I'm the type, like, if someone tells me that, I'm just like, damn, like, I don't know. That's a hard one for me. Because if I don't say something, then I don't know.
So, I personally don't think I would say anything unless it was to, like, somebody I knew. Like,
yeah.
I have, like, certain guy friends or whatever, I'm like, bro, what is that on your face? Like, making a joke, and they're like, oh, man, like, that's just I know, you know? Like, I have, like, different types of, like, relationships with people, but if you're not like that with somebody, if this is, like, a stranger, well, it says a friend, so, I mean, it just depends on, like, the type of friendship you have, you know what I mean? Like, this is very situational. Yeah. I mostly would not say something, but, I mean, if I was, like, you know, if I was in that sort of, like, friendship that where they, like, joked around with someone, yeah. But, I mean, I'm mostly not. I only have, like, 2 guy friends I would even do that to.
Yeah.
But that's just who they are as people, you know? Like, I know personally, like, it's not going to offend them. Like, I know me saying this isn't going to hurt their feelings, so I know that I can say that to them, you know? You have to, like, definitely realize in situations like that, like, certain things, like, certain strokes for different folks, you know?
I ain't the truth. Alright, this one looks pretty long.
Okay.
You're in a store and your significant other poots on an aisle and leaves you there.
What? Does it mean fart? Did your mom write that?
So, and then it says another person steps onto the aisle right into the stink cloud. Would you call out or yell at your partner to save your own butt?
I would not say anything at all.
I know, I would not say anything at all. I'm sorry, but if it was, like, friends, yeah, I would definitely call Michael out if he freaking pooted and he ran and then you walked up. I'd be like, I'm sorry, it stinks because Michael pooted, you know? Like,
I'm so
if it's
dead.
you, or, like, a friend, but, like, or family, but if it's a stranger, no, I don't know about all that.
I'm still dying at pooted. I'm so
You never
dead.
heard that?
That is such, like, a proper term. That is so cute.
I'm not sure I say pooted than fart.
I
always say that.
I can totally see this person saying that.
Would you say anything?
Oh my god, I would totally play that off. If they're like, it stinks, I'm like, oh my god, I know, I walked down this aisle, it just stinks, you know? Okay. Excuse me. While at work, you fall asleep with your head. Oh, that's so funny. Okay. While at work, you fall asleep and your head hits your desk. Do you fess up or do you say amen?
I say amen.
Amen, brother!
Okay. If a family member posts a very personal/private issue on social media, do you tell them it's inappropriate?
I think it definitely depends on what it is. But if it's, like, really, really, really inappropriate, I would say something, depending on who it is. If it's, like, close family, did I say close family?
Just family. A family member.
If it was somebody in my close family, like my sister, my mom, they would never do something like that. But if for whatever reason they did, I would definitely say something. If it were my aunt, my uncle, I'd probably say something to my grandma. I don't know. Anybody else, I probably wouldn't say anything, you know. I'd probably just ignore it, you know.
I'm the same way. Like, if it's, like, close family, I would definitely say something. I'd be like, what is going on? Like, you know, but if it's family that, like, my aunt or even, like, my cousins or something, I would probably not. I mean, I'm not close with them like that, so.
Neither am I, so I definitely probably wouldn't say something.
Ooh, we got 2 more.
Okay.
I think.
This is a really, really good one. If your friend smells like BO, do you tell them?
I have trouble with this one. Because I don't know how to tell someone that. I would love to. I would want to. But, like, I don't know how to say that.
I think that I would say something to them. Like, if it was to a point where it needed to be discussed. Like, having, like a must, you know, it happens. You know, like, I feel like everybody has it. It's more noticeable, like, when it's you. You're like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. You're like, I smell like shit. And then everybody else is like, what are you talking about? But, I don't know. Like, if I genuinely thought there was a problem, I would tell them. You know, I want what's best for my friends. I don't want to hurt their feelings and be like, ew, you smell like shit. Or just, like, letting them go out and being like, ew, you smell like shit. And, like, people are making fun of them for smelling like shit. Like, I want to let them know, you know, just like, hey, like, I want to help you out.
No, it's such a tough one.
It is very tough, you know.
If your friend has a booger, do you tell them?
Yes.
Yeah. We've been through this. I'm like, hey, it's right there. Like, we've been, like, on a deep thing of this. Like, remember that one?
Oh, my God.
Can I tell them?
Yeah. It was so funny.
So, she was at the doctor's, and I went with her, like the best friend I am. And I told her that she had a boogie. And she picks it, and she flicks it, and it was so quiet in there that you freaking heard it on the floor. It felt like this. Literally. Oh my God. I know it's probably disgusting to y'all, and we probably shouldn't, you know, disperse boogers like that. But I'm sorry, we all freaking do that. Like, come on.
We're going and you're like, don't step on it. Yes. Like, it's my own booger. Can't leave it there to die.
Like, I'm just cleaning up after myself.
So dense. Like, leaves like a slug trail. Ew. It was like a crusty one. It wasn't like messy. That's why it made so much noise when it hit the ground. It was like, it sounded like a kettle chip when you step on it.
On that note, so we just want to thank you all so much for being such amazing supporters and really taking our advice and running with it, because I know some of y'all will. I know some of y'all will realize that maybe some things that y'all are doing in y'all's day-to-day life is just probably not, you know, in the best way, and you're probably not being the nicest human that you can be. So I hope that these steps help you, and I hope that, you know, taking these things and actually applying them to your life really benefits you. And if they do, let us know, please. We want to know, and we want to know, like we said before, we want to know if y'all have anything to add, because of course we're learning, we're always expanding, we want to learn more, we want to learn from y'all. So yeah. All right, well, we're out.
Okay, bye y'all.
Bye.
Woo.